Jackson gave me the news of a planet far away. And Colonel O'Neill will assemble a team that will try to save the day. Dr. Sam has a master plan and a science attitude. And the job for Teal, he's part of the deal with his trusty go-out. It's just a regular day, it's Stargate Command, and it might be hard to understand.
Welcome back. We are here to talk about another season 4 banger.
Season 4, episode 5 banger.
Hell yeah, brother.
Welcome back. Welcome back, everyone.
But, you had to rearrange us.
I did. It bothers me when
I was like, I am not on the bottom. I am not a bottom. Don't put me on the bottom.
So, before we get into our season 4, episode 5 banger, want to jump in the fry box?
Yeah, we can jump in the fry box real quick.
Short, cause we're 3 fries short.
Rebecca, my friend, I'm going to let you take us away.
Alrighty.
It's all you.
Just two things. I think we've talked a little bit about one and we've talked a lot about the other, but I just want to reiterate because we're about to come into very busy travel season for Rebecca, especially. So I'm not sure we're going to make episodes happen as we can, basically. But April 19th through the 21st, if you're anywhere near Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, you should come on down to DNI-Con, the Galactic Diversity and Inclusion Convention, because the Companion's going to have a booth there. And I'm also going to be running a panel there with Picard's very own Michelle Hurd, Embracing Mental Health as a Fandom. We're going to do it live and we're going to do it there. She's super excited to be doing it with us. And she's going to come on to do a live stream with us too. So it's super exciting. If you don't know Michelle Hurd, you should know Michelle Hurd, but she plays Raffi in Picard.
Fucking amazing woman.
Yeah.
So
I love it.
Super excited to have her. And then Basingstoke. Basingstoke is coming up really, really, really quickly. Mm-hmm. So if you're in the UK, you can come find us at Basingstoke. What is it? The 9th through the 11th, I think, are the dates.
I've lost all track of time. Yeah, something like that. We're there the whole time. Whatever
we're there the whole
Basingstoke
weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah. You might, if you don't already have a ticket and you were planning to go, you probably should get that ticket like ASAP because they did just announce Jason Momoa yesterday.
Oh yeah. I'm so glad I did not spend my money yet. And I 100% no judgment from anybody. I did pay for Jason Momoa picture opportunity because that is, whew.
Yeah.
Whew. Yes.
It's gonna be wild. So
it is wild.
Whatever side of the pond you're on, come find us. Sarah will be there with me holding it down for a day.
420, blaze it.
That's my birthday.
Exactly.
Birthday, so we'll have to live you in at some point.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, please do.
And then all 3 of us will be there at Basingstoke. So there you go.
Yeah,
that's the fry box. It's
so many cons. We never talk about cons like this. I love this, and it's all good and wrapped into mental health and all the goodness stuff. Can we take a moment to talk though about the walk thing? I know the gate to gate. I know this is like not a companion, like obviously podcast, but I am just thankful for that part of it because if y'all aren't doing that, I'm so bad. I made one video and I botched it completely. I botched it so bad. Because apparently walking is not good for your mental health, but according to an expert,
according to that one expert on TikTok,
according to the one expert. But I, for one, have very much enjoyed the community of doing the gate to gate challenge.
Yeah. Yeah, we hit, I'll give you a little preview. I haven't dropped an update recently because we hit we hit our first milestone, first of 7 milestones. But I'm working
Yeah.
on something extra fun to announce it with. So in the
Okay, we
meantime,
can hold them.
yeah, but in the meantime, if you want to start doing some walking or running or biking for some mental health, you should go to amandatappingbook.org. And all the way at the bottom, you can sign up there for here. I'll do a little ticker across the bottom. You can sign up there to join the Gate to Gate challenge or the 60 for 60, which is a watch-a-thon, watch along challenge. Sign up for both of those there. And yeah, it's easy. You just post screenshots of your mileage somewhere on the internet where I can find them with the hashtag Stargate Mental Health, and I'll add your mileage to it. So
Yeah.
if you're
Cool.
in personal group chats with me, you get away with it's even easier for you.
It's even easier for me because you just look at my Apple Watch sharing because I'm terrible at keeping up with that kind of stuff.
Sarah was like, I can't do this. I can't be doing it. And I was like, joke's on you. I'm already counting your mileage anyway.
I was like, I can't make myself do one more thing. I already make myself do so many things. I'm tapped out. I can't. So
yep.
Cool.
And before we hop into this, also keep in mind we are keeping an eye on the comments. So keep them coming. Any questions you have, anything like that, and we will address them after the episode recap.
Absolutely.
Such a good shippy episode. I'm excited for this
love it.
one.
Yep.
Are you guys ready?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
First of all, what are your overall thoughts on this episode before we get into it?
Ooh, okay. I added my note at the end, but I want to have some conversations around like loyalty and love, and like the conversations around like kind of what stays, what's the staying factor. As we get into it at the end, like we see that like maybe love for like partner or not partner, but like loyalty. I don't know. Like, I guess my thoughts on it, I really appreciate the layers to it and how it kind of peels back the onions, because we see like eventually like one person leaving, one person, another piece, like as they're going through. So I don't know. I want to get to the end of that, but I want to break down the kind of, I feel like there's this like stepped approach, like an onion peel of like when you get to the core of something. And they did a beautiful job at that. But.
Yeah. I love a good like false memory or are you remembering things correctly episode in general. And I also really, really like the way the like almost the scientific method is presented in this one, especially like towards the end. I think that's what I dig about it every time. So yeah, those are it's one of my favorites, like always.
I like the idea of like not alternate realities, but like everyone's own personal realities, and that can translate into like regular life. Like we can both experience the same thing and it affect us in vastly different ways, and we each have our own reality, so to speak. So like when it comes to science fiction, alternate realities or like your reality or your perception being tampered with or altered with is always interesting, but like to make it a more human connection of like our own realities amongst ourselves with our interpersonal relationships, and how we perceive things as a whole. Like we've all seen the remember the dress meme from like 10 years ago? Is it blue and black or white and gold?
Exactly.
Like it was a huge thing because
what is the other one? Laurel and Yanni or something?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't
so
know.
or
This
even
is
like
a big
those like riddle images where like if you look at it one way it's an old hag lady, but if you look at it another way it's a beautiful young woman, like or that, that's just one example, but like those kind of visual riddles, I guess. But
yeah. And this episode is exactly that. It's like completely played out as like a Uno reverse, like you see it this way or it's that way.
I think it's an underrated episode personally.
Where does this rank? Where does this rank?
I don't know.
It's
probably not anywhere near the top. Sadly. But I think it's
So-
really interesting as a standalone.
But it is important though, because it is a pillar in like the story of like kind of especially, well, we can get into it, but like certain like characters development, because like in season 1 we see something happen and then now we see it now, and then at the end we kind of see this evolution, and like they couldn't have that without this episode, so
Right. Yeah.
like it wouldn't happen.
It's true.
So
Yeah. All right.
dive
So you ready to
into
get
it.
into it?
Let's do
Totally.
it. Let's dig in.
Our
Totally.
episode opens. We are talking about season 4, episode 5, Remember Me. And our episode opens with Chief Medical Officer's log, stardate 44161.2. That was very hard for me to say. I almost fucked it up. Numbers are hard. We are docking at a Starbase 133 for scheduled crew rotation. I look forward to welcoming aboard my mentor and dear friend, Dr. Dalen Quace, who will be traveling with us to his home planet, Kenda 2. So Crusher greets Quace at the transporter room. We find out that his wife recently died, and he talks about how hard it's been. And Crusher tries to relate because her husband, Jack, who was a Starfleet officer killed in action, she laments, we only had a couple years together. We weren't together like a lifetime like you were, but, she can kind of relate to losing someone like that.
Mm-hmm.
Quay says something. He says, you know what the worst part of growing old is? So many people you've known all your life are gone, and you realize it didn't take, Jesus Christ, you realize you didn't take the time to appreciate them while you still could. Which I thought was very profound, and it reminded me of all things of the Golden Girls meme, which we will share at the end.
Oh,
That's so cute.
Yeah, it also makes me feel very existential.
Yeah, it makes me like, I was thinking a lot about like growing old and like thinking of like all the people who like look through their yearbooks in their 80s and they're like, all these people are dead. It's like really,
That's so sad.
yeah, it's like really sad and depressing. It also reminds me of another episode in the Golden Girls where Sophia's reading the obituaries and she's like, 83, yes, 79, yes. And like it's like she's reading lottery numbers. She's like, no, I'm reading the obituaries. I outlived all these people.
She'll also read the
God.
obituaries to try to find a date. Like,
Oh, yeah.
Sophia does that too.
Oh, to see like if
Drive
someone's
by.
widow or
Yes.
Hey,
That's
when you're
Sophia.
up there, how else are you gonna? This is pre-Tinder, you
mean,
know.
Wow.
So
That's
anyway,
wild.
cut to
Oh.
engineering. Wesley is doing an experiment, and Reading Rainbow enters and tells Wesley that playtime is over, and he wants his warp engine back.
Okay,
Um,
Mom.
Yeah, he was kind of like mean, and I was like, does everybody just fucking hate Wesley? But
But like
Picard's
Wesley's
like,
that,
we gotta go. Like,
but he's that like eternally super smart genius kid that just is like always that way. Like he's just always way smarter and ahead of it. Like I think everyone's just like, okay, let's get with it. So,
I think people hate him because he's too overpowered, and they're like,
no,
he hasn't earned this.
He absolutely
He's-
has. He's just a young boy genius.
Yeah.
He's just a young boy
So
genius.
Crusher enters just as Wesley is finishing up. There's a sudden flash, and Wesley looks concerned. LaForge checks the computer, but everything seems to be okay, and Wesley explains that should not have happened. Like, nothing like that should have happened, and something is very fucking wrong. But kind of like, something's wrong, but like, I don't know what it is. So he turns to speak to Crusher, but she's gone. Like, he's like, oh, I guess she like walked away, I guess. So we see Crusher go to Quace's quarters. She rings the doorbell for him. Is that what doorbell? She like rings for him. She's like, hello.
Mhm.
And he doesn't answer. So she goes in and she starts looking for him, but he's nowhere to be found. She asks the computer where he is, but the computer tells her that there is no Dr. Dalen Quace aboard.
Start the gaslighting. Like,
Opening credits, the final frontier.
Pretty bad when a computer can gaslight you.
oh,
Yeah.
it gets so much more. Oh man, the mind fuck. but like anyway, more on that later. But is it really a computer? I don't know. Okay,
So
continue.
Crusher calls Worf to the quarters and explains the situation. But Worf is like, I don't fucking know about what you're talking about. Like, I was not made aware of this dude coming aboard. Like, I don't know. But Picard apparently approved this, and Worf should have been briefed on it. So Crusher goes to explain that he and all of his belongings are missing. And he's like the super old, frail kind of guy. And like, what if he fell down and broke a hip somewhere? Like, we need to find him.
He's like stuck in between a wall and a toilet somewhere in the ship.
Yeah.
Poor thing. He's like like glitching out.
Yeah.
Oh.
So it's an odd situation. Like, what the heck? We just saw this guy. He just came on board. and all of his stuff is gone. It's not like he's just gone. All of his stuff is gone too. So like, what the
Mhm.
hell? Cut to Picard's office. Worf, Data, and Crusher are all like, I don't fucking know. We can't find him. Like, the computer doesn't know anything. There's no bio signature. Nothing. We got nothing. So if he's dead, the computer won't be able to find him, which is a really dark place to kind of leap to right away. And there's also a possibility that he could have returned to the starbase if there was an emergency. So Picard tells them to double check all of the things, dot their I's, cross their T's, like do all the stuff.
Can we just pause for a moment? And I know it comes up later, but the amount of trust that Picard's like, yeah, whatever she's saying, I believe it, even though I don't like know it's kind of like, yeah. There was not a moment where he was like, prove me. He was like, if you say it, I believe it.
Yeah,
So
love
I'm just
that for
saying,
him.
like, love that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're
So-
waiting for that to be the case after he's like, you're supposed to tell us when like you bring people on. And she's like, I did. Like, what are you talking about? Like, send it in.
Yeah.
He's like, all right, that's all I need. It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love that.
Because she was like, I did this months ago. You approved it. And he's like, I don't remember doing that, but like maybe somebody intercepted it. I don't know. Like, whatever. But let's find this guy.
Yeah, he's like, does he have any enemies? Like, he was very much like, I believe you. So if this happened and it says I didn't, something is afoot.
Yeah. So on the bridge, Data tells them that Starbase has no records of Dr. Quaice ever being there, despite Crusher telling them he's been there for 6 years. And the Starbase is like, I don't fucking know who he is. Never heard of him.
Mm-hmm.
So there's some dialogue between Data and Crusher. Do you guys want to read that?
Sure.
All right,
Go for
your
it.
choice.
I will take Crusher.
Okay, perfect. So Data says, not according to their computer. I have also accessed Starfleet records. There is no doctor currently serving in Starfleet named Quaice. In fact, I can find no service record whatsoever. There are no birth records with that name. I find no...
Data, I interned with him on Delos 4. I've known him for 15 years.
I do not doubt you, Doctor, but I have tried 173 phonetic variations of the name, and
His name is Dalen Quaice. Quaice. Whatever your records say, they're wrong.
Can we also take a moment, because we were like really engaged in the group chat to talk about the high resolution, high definition version of the show that was probably not intended to be seen at such high definition.
Yeah.
Rebecca, that's all you brought this up, so I would like you to
Yeah.
talk about this.
No, I mean, yeah, it's not meant to be seen that crisp and clear. That's all there is to it. It's too
No.
much. Data looks really caked on the face, but like right
blending.
where his collar hits, you're like, I can see some skin tone there. And like the thing is, when it originally aired in the resolution that it was in, like you could not tell that. You could not see that difference.
Yeah.
It's like it's the resolution, like the upscaling of it that really did it basically. So yeah.
Do you guys remember like, you know, when beauty YouTube was really popping off, like 2016 to like 2020? There were all these challenges.
Do I remember?
Face full of highlighter, right? Jenna
Mhm.
Marbles made the joke that Data was the original face full of highlighter challenge because
Mhm.
he's all like, he probably could have used some like YouTube tutorial to help him like make himself look less like crusty. You know, he needed to like moisturize a little bit before. But yeah, it's very interesting to notice. And I wasn't sure if I was watching the same version because it was still in letterbox. But I could tell by looking, I'm like, what? Yeah, that's bad. So some of it might be restored, but as Rebecca, you pointed out, they might not have been able to extend the frame because like camera and junk was like in the way.
Yeah.
The actual set you could see.
I will break the comment rule to mention that John also mentioned there are many boom mic moments. So they do expand, I guess, somewhat the aspect ratio, or like, they would have crunched it down or something, but like they still can't push it out this direction because guaranteed there's like a light sitting like right there pointing at somebody, because it's everything in filmmaking is way closer than you think it is. Like it looks nice and open, and then when you
It's like in
actually
your
look,
face.
it's like Everything's right there. So
Because when I was watching it, this is how it got brought up. When I was watching it, Adam was like, "Why are they so close together?" It was Worf and Crusher, and they were like close.
because
And I
they
was like,
had to
"Adam,
be.
it was shot in 4:3, like they had to, so they would fit in the frame." But you mentioned Janeway, how she like really gets right up
Janeway is
in.
close to everybody.
Mhm. Like, hello.
So
Yep. And she's so short too, so it's always like great.
they got to get her the Scully box like they did for the X-Files because with how tall David Duchovny is and how short Gillian Anderson is, they could like it was hard to get them in the
They
same
couldn't frame them right,
Yeah.
right?
So they had like it was like an old Apple crate that they would have Jillian stand on, and they called it the Scully box.
That's funny.
They're Apple boxes. It's an official piece of equipment on a film set called an Apple box.
Oh,
Yeah.
So
learn something.
they have a
today.
half apple, they have a full apple, and then they have a pancake, which is literally a piece of wood.
Just a little.
Nice.
Love it.
So Worf enters the bridge and he confirms that he can find no trace of Dr. Quace on the ship. And it appears for reasons unknown, someone has gone to great pains to erase all traces of this man.
Conspiracy.
Crazy.
Da-da-da.
So Crusher is like, wait, I greeted him in the transporter room with O'Brien. O'Brien was there when he came on. So let's check with O'Brien. But O'Brien also has no recollection. He was like, I don't know what you're talking about. So there's this dialogue between those two. Do you guys want to read that?
Yeah. I'm gonna take O'Brien.
Yep.
Because I love O'Brien from DS9 now. As I've been getting caught there. I love me some O'Brien seeing here. So okay. I'm sorry. I remember you were here for a short while, but you were alone.
Was he invisible? Did I carry on a conversation with thin air?
No, doctor. As I recall, you came in, you looked around for a few moments. I asked you if I could help with anything. All you said was thank you. I said my pleasure or something, and that was the end of it. There was no one else here.
So Crusher is being gaslit by some alien bullshit, apparently. Because, like, what else could it be? Like, she cannot be the only one who knows of this guy and knows that he's on this ship. Now, like, someone who should have seen him. Like, his whole job is to man the transporters. And, like, he was there. He beamed the guy up. So Crusher and Riker are trying to figure out what is going on. O'Brien doesn't appear to be lying, but maybe there's something wrong with him medically. So Riker's going to continue to monitor on things on the ship, like the replicator activity logs, because like you can't go long without food and water. So
It's kind of
keep
smart.
an eye on that. Yeah,
I wouldn't have thought about that, to be honest. Good on her.
So Crusher's going to examine O'Brien in the medical bay, and she pages 2 other doctors, but they don't respond. And then she asks the computer where these other doctors are, and just like with Quace, the computer tells her they are not aboard the ship.
See, these are those onion layers getting peeled back. Who's gonna go first? So like I guess her medical staff means nothing.
She didn't care about them.
No, they're gone.
She's like, I just have to do everything around here myself.
Like they were first to go. So,
yep.
So cut to Picard's office. Do you guys want to read that dialogue between them?
Yep.
Sure.
I'll stick on Crusher.
Yeah, that's fine.
Doctors Hill and Solar and 4 other members of my medical staff have all vanished. All record of their having been on the Enterprise has been excised from the computer's memory.
Did they come aboard with Dr. Quace?
No, they've been on board for months, but my 2 duty nurses don't remember them. Their families don't even remember them.
As O'Brien didn't remember Dr. Quace.
I checked O'Brien thoroughly. I found no physiological abnormalities.
So then Wesley pages Picard to engineering, and there's something going on that might be related to Quace's disappearance. There's also no progress on the search. Riker and Worf are not able to find anything, and Picard doubles down, telling them, he's like, you gotta check harder, guys. Like, whatever you're doing, do it more.
Again, I love his devotion to her on this part. I mean, like, he's like, yeah, whatever she's saying, I believe her.
Yeah.
At all cost.
So anyway. So check hull and shield integrity for any signs of intruders, then a level 1 diagnostic on any onboard sensors, and run a manual sweep of any analogous airborne or electromagnetic. So he's just like pulling out all the stops. He's like, well, make sure all the sensors are working. Maybe the sensors aren't working and they can't pick them up. I don't know. So cut to engineering. We have Some plot dump with Wesley, Picard, LaForge, and Crusher. I'll take the LaForge Burton.
Okay, I can stick with Picard.
I'll do the Crushers, plural, I guess.
Okay, perfect.
Excellent.
Perfect.
Just like the Carters.
Yeah. I've been experimenting with Kaczynski's warp field equations, trying to improve engine efficiency.
I've read your reports.
We did a test run while we were still at the starbase. Here's what the computer recorded.
This is the static warp field we created inside the warp drive. The experiment was designed to see if we could keep a bubble like this intact.
As you'll see in a moment, we couldn't. There was a momentary flash of light. It was all over the spectrum.
Where am I? Oh, Dr. Crusher. I remember that.
Are you suggesting that a bubble could have made Dr. Quace disappear?
Wesley. If he were caught in it, yes, sir. It would seem to us like he'd disappeared. Dr. Crusher. Where would he go?
Who knows? He could even end up outside the space-time continuum.
Was Dr. Quace in engineering during your experiment?
No, sir.
And the bubble never expanded beyond engineering?
Wesley. No, sir.
Then how could it have trapped Dr. Quace or the others?
There are others missing?
Dr. Crusher. Yes, and they aren't anywhere near engineering. Wesley. It doesn't make sense.
I doubt the warp bubble could alter computer records or erase memories. Keep at it, Ensign. Mr. LaForge, it's our only working theory for now.
So Crusher goes back to sickbay. It's completely empty, and she heads to the bridge to report the problem. She's like, okay, now my whole fucking staff is gone. Like, everyone's gone. I don't have anybody. And Riker,
Well, that's what
Data,
you get. They're done. They're out.
So Riker, Data, and Picard are like, girl, what are you talking about? You've never had a staff. Like, it's always been you, a one-woman show. Like, I don't know what to tell you. And so Crusher is confused. She's like, what the hell is going on? I'm the only doctor on a ship of 1,000+ people. And Data is like, there's only 230 people on board. Like, what are you, 1,000? Are you kidding me? So the gaslighting intensifies.
Oh.
Yeah.
They all look at Crusher now like she's gone nuts. They fully are like, okay, something. She's has a screw loose. And Picard asks to speak with her privately. So there's some really nice dialogue between Picard and Crusher.
None of the scans show any anomalies. No signs of an intruder. Wesley's experiment clearly did not have the scope to affect an entire starship.
Captain, the Enterprise is in serious danger. You must believe me.
I have no choice but to believe you. The safety of my entire crew is at stake, but I must be sure.
That I haven't lost my mind? I just examined myself, and being the only doctor on board, I had to do it myself. There were no signs of dysfunction. Yes, there was an increased elevation of adrenaline, but I think that is understandable.
Did you find anything that might suggest why you're apparently the only one among us unaffected by this phenomenon?
No. I'll talk to Troy.
It wouldn't do any harm.
Captain, please, return the ship to Starbase 133 for a full diagnostic. I realize you have only my word to convince you.
Mr. Riker?
Captain?
Set a course for a return to Starbase 133 immediately.
Aye, sir.
Your word has always been good enough for me.
I love this. We're like,
My heart.
even he is she's saying stuff now that he doesn't believe. I have a whole medical staff. There's 1,000 people. And he, in his mind, he's like, no, you've never had a staff. There's only 230 people on this board. But still, he is willing to turn back and listen to her and be like, let's go back to the starbase and see what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
So Crusher returns to sickbay, and there's a flashing light and a strong wind starts. She's like being sucked toward this. Like she's hanging on, flying like on the door handle. Like,
That would be terrifying as fuck.
yeah.
She's oddly like calm and like collected, like while holding on. It's very much like from Twister, the movie, you know, where they like hang on. That's why
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yep.
I would be losing my shit afterwards.
Yeah.
Okay.
So she holds on to a doorway and like all this, papers are flying around, but then it stops all of a sudden. Cut to a conference room. LaForge presents his findings, which is nothing. He got nothing. Womp womp. There is zero evidence of the vortex that Crusher just witnessed, and he truly believes Wesley's experiment could not cause this. So then Data enters and confirms the same. For all intents and purposes, everything is normal, and he confirms the number of crew aboard, 114, which just 5 minutes ago it was 230. So there are now over 900 missing crew on the ship, or not on the ship,
Ugh.
however you want to say it. So people keep disappearing, and Crusher is the only one who remembers them. She asks Picard if Warp can program sensors to monitor everybody aboard to see if they can catch it happening. But Picard is like, who is Worf? I've never heard of that guy before. Nobody knows
Dang.
who he is. So Crusher asks Troy, am I going crazy?
Ugh.
Do
So we
wanna
have
do
this
I'll
dialogue.
do Troy.
Yeah, it's Crusher
Yeah.
and Troy.
Deanna, I've delivered babies that no longer exist. No one else remembers them, yet I can close my eyes and see their faces as clearly as I see yours now. What if it's not some huge conspiracy? What if it is just me?
What if it is just you?
Then I've delayed a mission, frightened a lot of people, including myself.
So what? You've acted in the best interest of your ship and crew. What more could you ask of yourself? If it turns out to be a mistake, then we'll be a little late arriving at Dorinia 4. That's all.
It's not a mistake. I wish it were.
When we reach Starbase, I'll order a complete workup, both physical and psychological.
If we reach Starbase. Wesley. Where's Wesley?
So again, like I do like that everyone totally believes her, and even if they're
Mhm.
like, even if it is a mistake, like no prob.
Talk
Like you're
about
just
like
doing your best, girl. Yeah.
that's a best support team ever. Like get yourself some friends like that and some coworkers that like, no worries, we got you. Like, dang.
So Crusher runs to engineering to find that Wesley is still there. I think she had like a moment where she's like, I gotta make sure my kid is still here. Like, I remember him, but like he could be gone, I guess. And
Mhm.
Wesley kind of doesn't believe her. And Crusher is like, listen here, you little shit. Your experiment is the only explanation for this. Figure it out.
Do you want me to be Wesley or Crusher in this?
He can be Wesley.
Okay. I've already talked to Kaczynski in subspace, and he can't explain it either. And this is based on his equations. There's someone who may be able to help, but I can't reach him.
Who?
He was Kaczynski's assistant. He was an alien from Ta Office. He said his name was, he said he was some kind of traveler. Somehow he combined warp technology and the energy from his own thoughts.
Yes, I remember. Wesley, do you think it's possible that you've accidentally recreated something that he did? Something that could alter reality?
I don't see how. He's the only one who could explain it to us. I sent a message to Tau Alpha. Oh my god, I cannot talk to Tau Alpha C, but it's so far away. It could take days to get there.
Maybe the captain can help us. We've got to find him. Come on.
I don't even know if he's still alive. He was very sick.
Well, we can't stand around here doing nothing.
So
the
they begin to
traveler.
leave engineering, but then as Crusher turns the corner, Wesley is gone, and she doubles back, and he's gone. Like poof, done.
Mm,
Also in this bit of dialogue, the Traveler is mentioned.
mhm.
Rebecca, do you have some lore on the Traveler?
Yeah. If you remember way back in season 1, we met the
Mhm.
traveler in the episode Where No One Has Gone Before. I believe that was the name of the episode.
Yes.
Yeah. And so the whole Traveler Wesley thing, this is the second time I believe that we've seen the Traveler.
Mhm.
After the first time, if you remember, the Traveler telling Picard, like, yo, this kid's got some good stuff. You probably should encourage this. And that's what ends up having Picard make Wesley an acting ensign. And then we get to see him now again, and then we will see him later as well. Spoiler alert for a 35-year-old TV show.
I think it.
yeah.
Yeah. I think it's cool because in the first season, when we do meet the Traveler, like he's immediately drawn to Wesley because I rewatched that episode, and you immediately see where like they arrive, and it's Kaczynski's like pretending to be the one in charge, but then you see the Traveler kind of like somehow he just like senses Wesley, and they just are like two little best buddies like over here on this like computer over here doing their thing, like don't mind us, don't mind us, and they're just like geeking out together, having the best time. And you can just see the Traveler really pick up on something. And so it was really awesome hearing him talk to Picard and plant that seed about what he compared him to Mozart. It's just about like, he's like, how can I explain this to you? Like but he is still just a child. Like treat him like a child still. And that was important because I think it's played into how I think Picard level set. Like, yes, finding a way to give him bridge access, making him ensign, but not throwing him straight to the top and putting all these expectations. Like he still has to go through these kind of learning and growth. But yeah, it was cool to see that bond.
Yeah. And we,
So that's our refresher on the Traveler from when we talked about it in season 1. So Crusher heads back to the bridge, and Picard is the only one there. And Picard has no clue where any of the crew are.
He's just sitting there, like,
what are you? It's always been just me and you. What are you talking about?
I love this room.
I know. It honestly, it kind of reminds me of, and not trigger warning about like Alzheimer's dementia, but it very much reminded me of like when I visited my grandma one time, where it's this very like blissful like delirium of like, what do you mean? It's just like, it's just me. It's just this. Like it was weird. Nothing's weird. It's just us. It was so sweet and endearing. But yeah.
So Picard, he's kind of like frustrated a little bit. He's like, I entertained your delusion. We're going back to the star base. Like, explain yourself. What's going on? And he suggests that she confines herself to sickbay. And we have some dialogue between Crusher and Picard.
Yep. It's all perfectly logical to you, isn't it? The two of us roaming about the galaxy in the flagship of the Federation. No crew at all.
We've never needed a crew before.
I don't suppose you remember an alien from Tau Alpha C who was on board once? He called himself a traveler. Jean-Luc, I don't know how, but you and I have to find this traveler or another from his race, if anyone can help us.
I give you my word. When we arrive at the starbase, I will make every effort to find him.
It's not a delusion. It's not a dream. There is a physical, measurable phenomenon at work here. Perhaps you could help me to identify it.
How?
I'd like to use the ship's computer to monitor your life functions.
Until I disappear.
It will happen.
All right. Computer, continuous scan. Captain Jean-Luc Picard, vital signs. Audible readout, begin now.
Body temperature, 37.2 degrees.
I promise you I will continue to do whatever I can to find out what's happening and to bring you all back. I'm sorry I lost my temper. You do remember that.
Vividly. But I have forgotten my closest friends and comrades, as you say. I deserved every word.
For quite some time, I've been meaning to say something to you. I might not have another chance. She looks away. Jean-Luc, you and I...
The computer has gone silent. He is not there.
Oh, she just turns like 1 second. I won't forget. I won't forget any of you.
This was like, I think, my favorite part of the whole episode. Because now she's completely alone on the ship. There's nobody there except her and the computer, which is good that she has that. But just her think, I will not forget you. I will remember all of you.
Yeah.
So the vortex appears again and almost sucks her through. And we can hear Wesley and LaForge Burton, and we see them in engineering. And they have been trying to get Crusher back the entire time, but Wesley fails and the screen goes blank.
There's the piece of some facts about Gates McFadden hanging on the chair.
Oh yeah, give me
that. It's to me, it's the equivalent of like the Lord of the Rings when Vigo kicks the helmet. Yeah. He broke his toe right there.
Yeah.
So Gates McFadden did all of her stunts for this episode, and she found out shortly after that she was pregnant.
Whoa!
So there you go. There you go.
Look at ladies can do anything. Yep. I swear.
Yep.
So in engineering, where Wesley and LaForge are, the Traveler appears, and he's like, "It's not over." So we kind of like understand now. Wait a minute, has Crusher been in the alternate reality this whole time? What? So Captain's log, stardate 44162.5. 2 attempts to retrieve Dr. Crusher have failed, and now the Traveler, a mysterious visitor from our past, has reappeared. So we have some dialogue. It is the Traveler, Riker, Troy.
And Wesley. I'll
Is it
take
Wesley or yeah, okay.
I'll take Riker.
I'll take Troy and Wesley. They're really
Okay.
little.
I'll take Riker then. Christina, you can be the traveler.
Okay, cool. I feel like that vibes with
Yeah,
who
it does.
I am.
Very, very much so.
I would be a traveler in another life. All right. So as long as she thinks she is alive, she is alive.
What the hell does that mean?
Your species has very narrow perceptions of time and space and thought. When Beverly Crusher was caught in the static warp bubble, she created her own reality. Her thoughts, at the precise moment she was trapped, determined its shape and form.
Can you go in and get her back?
No, it is her reality. I cannot enter it any more than I can enter her thoughts.
And Wesley says, but you said there is still a way.
I can help, but I can't do it myself. Wesley, there is a power within each of us that most people haven't begun to realize, but you have begun, or else I would not have known to come here now. Together, we may be able to open a gateway for her, but she must choose to walk through it.
So cut back to Crusher. And first of all, the whole she's alive if she still thinks she's alive, like what the fuck?
I think we're all with Riker in that moment.
Yeah.
What the hell does that mean?
So we confirm that Crusher is in this alternate reality that she's kind of created in her own, and it's based off of whatever she was thinking at the time that it happened.
So I'm just saying, remember, at that time, and what's the order that everyone disappeared? Because I want everyone to think about that, and then we'll talk about that at the end. Because that was her priority.
Okay.
Yep.
It's important, whatever was on her mind at that time.
Okay. So cut to Crusher. She's trying to diagnose the situation like an illness, and she asks the computer a litany of questions, some of which the computer can't answer. They're like, well, that doesn't compute, or whatever. I don't know what it says. She asks how long it would take to get to Tau Alpha C, 123 days. She thinks for a moment and decides to buckle down and do. She's like, I got nothing. I can't. What else am I going to do? Now the computer has no memory. She's like, tells the computer to go. Like, she's like, go, ship. And it doesn't go. And now the
like,
computer,
where do you want me to go?
what was it in Strange New Worlds where Spock is like, I command the ship to go, and it was like really boring and like I forget how.
Yeah, everybody has their own engage phrase.
I would like the ship to go.
I would
now,
like the
or
ship
something.
to go.
Yeah. But the ship's not moving, and now all of a sudden it can't remember. She's like, there is no Tau Alpha C. What are you talking about?
Like, bitch, yes there is.
She's like, damn, everything is just like gaslighting the shit out of me right now. So back with Picard and the rest of the crew, they have decided to go back to the starbase since that's where this all happened. So, like, let's go back to the scene of the crime, so to speak. So we have the Traveler and Wesley, some dialogue.
Yep.
All right. Our goal will be to create a stable gateway between our reality and your mother's reality.
We've tried. We can't stabilize the link.
Of course not. The equations are only the first step. We will be going beyond mathematics.
Just tell me what I have to do.
Begin by letting go of your guilt, Wesley.
It's my fault. I shouldn't have tried.
Focus on the present. You will have to be here completely to help her back. You must open yourself to time and space and the intricate threads that bind them. Begin entering your warp field equations. Now close your eyes. See past the numbers. Trust yourself.
I can't do it.
When the time comes, you will, Wesley.
I just realized what this dialogue was reminding me of.
What was it?
Like fucking Luke Skywalker with Yoda. You know, I can't do it.
Must you try?
Yeah.
So in Crusher's reality, she is realizing that everything is disappearing, and she thinks if there's nothing wrong with me, maybe there's something wrong with the universe. So she asks the computer, she's like, here's a question you shouldn't be able to answer. What's the nature of the universe? And the computer shows a spheroid region 705 meters in diameter. And it looks very familiar, the little thing that we see pop up on the screen. Cut back to Picard's reality. They reach the starbase, and Wesley is able to find the warp bubble again. The traveler looks concerned because it appears like it's collapsing. So back in Crusher's reality, she asks the computer to generate a representation of the universe, and she recognizes it as Wesley's bubble. And then it all clicks. She is the one trapped in the bubble, not everyone else being sent to the bubble. And that vortex, the 2 other times, we now know because Picard said, like, "We've tried 2 occasions of blah, blah, blah." Now we know that was them trying to suck her back home. So, she has 4 minutes and 17 seconds before the ship's life support is destroyed because the bubble is closing in, and it's just, like, crushing the ship like a can of Diet Coke, and it's gonna, like, affect the hull integrity and stuff like that. So in engineering, Wesley has to navigate opening the portal, but he's got it like it's very intuitive. It's like, don't look at the numbers, use your mind's
Use
eye,
the
blah, blah,
force,
blah.
Luke.
Yeah,
Use
pretty
the
much.
force.
Literally.
So Crusher is like talking to herself at this point, and she's like, the traveler used his thoughts to alter warp fields. Thoughts became reality. Now I'm in a warp field. Could my thoughts have changed this reality? Come on, Beverly, what's the next step? What was I thinking the moment Wesley's bubble formed? Dalen Quace. He said all the people he had known were gone. I thought of Jack. I went to see Wesley. The flash in engineering. That's when it started. That's when I started losing everybody. My thoughts created this universe. Can they get me out of it again? So she then realizes that the vortex was them trying to reach her, and she can't find it again. She has to go find it. And she's like, okay, it's engineering. That's where it was when it happened. I got to go back there. And all around her, like the ship is disappearing. It's wild. So she's like racing through like the halls. She finds the vortex again and she jumps through. And I put she makes it through safely on the side, but that shit chucks her out like hard. Like she comes flying through. Yeah. She comes flying through that shit. So she gets up after she was violently thrown through the portal. And she recognizes the traveler. She embraces Picard and Wesley and confirms the amount of people on board with Picard, 1014, the exact number that it should be.
Let me just say for the record that she immediately goes to Jean-Luc and hugs him quite passionately. Like that's not a. And then she goes to her son. Just saying. Just saying. Just needed to call that out there. Gonna keep on that one for a moment.
All right, yeah. And that's our episode. Cut to the credits.
The shippiness.
The shippiness. And I shouldn't be looking at comments, but absolutely Harmony, the hand hold, the hug, and the hand that then goes away before hugging Wesley. Yeah.
We love a good subtle hand hold.
We do love a good subtle hand hold.
Hands are very,
Hands are handsy. Yes.
So let's check the comments. Let's see what we got.
I've saved quite a few. One way back from the Fry box, John asked us, will we be changing our names to 3 trips short, being in the UK and all?
No, I don't like it.
No.
We're American through and through.
Okay. We ended up with a lot of Blazin' Bev and her candle shit. So here's the first one. He left and went into a candle for Beverly to save for later. Buckle up. There's a lot of them. Bev had a candlelight vigil for Quace. Let's see. Where's another one? Maybe those are all the ones I did because, oh, no, here's another one. Clearly, Beverly is clearly, 2 clearlys there, John. Thanks. Clearly, Beverly is clearly under the influence of an alien candle. Let's see.
Wait, I need to know because again,
we haven't gotten there yet.
What's Blazin' Bev? What's the candle reference?
So there's a season 7 episode called Sub Rosa where Beverly goes to her grandma's funeral and inherits her shit, including this weird candle that's like, it's a weird, like, it just looks like an antique or whatever. And she like lights the candle, but there's some being that's disguised as a ghost that's been with her family for like centuries and centuries, that tries to get her to leave the ship. And there's like a bit of a space ghost orgy kind of moment, like orgasm moment in it.
Okay.
Yeah. It's generally considered one of the really bad episodes of Next Generation.
Oh no, it was bad. Oh no.
It's really bad. Oh, but yeah, the candles. Blazin' Bev.
That's how she got it, Blazin' Bev.
Yeah. There's always the joking about like how Blazin' Bev is always like,
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. So yeah, Blazing Bev with the
I like it.
candles. Let's see what else. Let's see. This is true. Harmony did point out it's not actually Picard or these other people trusting her. It's Beverly's mind as to how she would perceive each one. But as also she says, no one disbelieves her. Like, they might get frustrated with her because she likes to shirk off the Prime Directive as often as she can. But yeah, they generally believe her. Let's see. Oh, back with the Apple Box talk, Mara said, so guests on sets must be so confused why people are calling for an Apple Box or pancake on set, only to never see a single pancake. It's true, Mara. It's true. We get really hungry on set and then there's like no food. It's all fake. They have code names for everything on sets, by the way. I don't know if everybody knows the whole C-47 thing, but like clothespins are called C-47s on movie sets. There are a couple of different reasons, but somebody said it was for a write-off for a budget. A budget wouldn't approve if they said we need clothespins, so they just changed it to C-47s back in the day, and now they call them C-47s. So like,
that's
it's
funny.
stupid.
That's funny though.
There's a lot of nobody else needed medical staff. Like the EMH on Voyager didn't need a staff, Scott says. And then Harmony said, yeah, Tom doesn't count as staff, and that is true. Yeah, we just, started singing all by myself at a certain point. Let's see what else. Oh, Nell, when we were talking about the Traveler, this kid can be space Jesus. Like,
absolutely.
you gotta encourage that space Jesusiness. Yeah. Let's see. John said, not gonna lie, that whole ship all to myself in my glory, finding a nice uninhabited system and turning off the comms.
John, that is so on brand for you. I can't even begin. For those who do not know, one of our mods, John, that is the most appropriate. If I could see you on a remote island sipping your drink with your little umbrella drink, just having a good old time, nobody bothering you unless you call for them. Like, I feel like that's how I envision your utopia.
Yep.
And I love this for you on your yacht as well. Love this for you.
Nell says the real alternate reality was inside you all along.
Yep.
That's like that needs to be like it's like on a shirt. Like, I need that on a mug.
And then Scott followed up with, Wesley, only you can prevent static warp bubbles. This is just a smattering of the comments, by the way. I love it.
There's
a
so
lot.
Many good ones.
I was grabbing them as I could find them as they were going by. But yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Thank you for all your wonderful comments.
We love it.
We do love it.
So, themes and discussion.
We can do mine last.
I don't really have a lot. I just thought of it reminded me of the Golden Girls meme where this was really popular like a while back, especially before Betty White died. There was an episode where like she says a line, but what happens when there's only one of us left? And then of course, because like all of the rest of them had died, it shows like, Estelle yes, there we go.
Aww.
Yeah. Because for the longest time, Betty White was the only one left.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of made me think of this, and it's like, oh my god, she's the only one left. Like, she's carrying on the memory.
Mm-hmm. I also like on this, you get to see that Estelle Getty was younger than B. Arthur, but played her mom.
Yeah,
it's good. Yeah. Oh,
I don't know. It just like the thought of growing old and being the only one who remembers stuff, or even like people in my family. Or like, especially on my dad's side, because my dad he doesn't talk about anything like that. So like, I don't know anything about his dad because he died before I was born. I don't even know I don't even know his name, honestly. And my dad is definitely not like the touchy-feely kind of guy, but even talking to my nan, his mom, who's in her 80s at this point, there's so much about her that I don't know. And I'm just like, I want to know this person, like the era that she grew up in, like what was her life like? Like, so just like the thought of keeping memory alive. And even it kind of reminded me of the movie Coco, the Disney Pixar movie Coco, which is all about memory and being remembered after you're gone. And that memory keeps them alive.
So I think I shared y'all shared with y'all. Oh my God, I didn't share it, y'all. I shared with y'all. At Christmas, on that note, my mom has been
Oh, that's
working
right.
and did a collection of life stories. And I knew she was like working on, it was really important to her, this concept of leaving something behind, leaving the stories. I mean, and this thing is like filled. This is my mom's life.
Yeah.
Pictures,
That's so cool.
stories. And I like different than my sister. My sister has like started to read it now. And I'm like, I don't know that I want to read it right now because I still have my mom in front of me and I don't want that to corrupt like how I like approach her like as she's getting older. Because there's still more life to be had. But I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, on that, it's a really special gift. So it really makes me think about like maybe I should be journaling, maybe I should be doing stuff, which led to, I think I was telling you guys I got warped into the TikTok shop, but it was a journal, but it was between a mom and a parent, or a mom and a parent. I lost my mind today. A mom and a child, or a parent and a child, and it's like a back and forth journal of like question and prompts for like thoughts on like the day or what's going on in their life, and it's a way to kind of like again pass a note, but to your child, and just kind of have it like, and then you turn the page and you just kind of like don't like review it together, but it's just a way to like have some sort of bond and have them get some insight into what's going on with you, and it keeps it anyway once I have it, but I'll share it. But I think that would be really cool to like look back on and again have that documentation, because like yeah, that legacy, because otherwise who's going to tell your stories? Do you like, maybe you don't want them told, but if you do, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I've also seen people do like when they have a kid, they create an email address for their kid and they'll send them emails. They'll like write them letters like today's date, you're 1 years old. This is what happened. Or send them pictures. And then when they turn 18, you give them the email and then they just have this whole archive of their life up until that. It's such a cool idea, but like just really cool things when it comes to memories. Everyone does things in their own way. And I don't know, I think it's cool. I look back and like my parents didn't really keep any memories or like photos or stuff. Like they weren't good at that. But then like my grandfather and my grandmother, like she was an avid photographer. Like she took so many pictures. There were so many pictures. So one of my favorite things to do when we went there was go through all these photo albums and look and be like, oh my God, look at that dress I was wearing. What the fuck? Or like just like laughing and like looking at all the memories and stuff. And even like times when I wasn't there, it was like other pictures of like, well, there's a bear in our yard this day. Look at the bear. Like, I don't know, stuff like that. And that was like really old school too, because in that time you had to go get that shit developed. Like, it's not like now. Now it's so easy. I have thousands of photos in my camera roll, many of which are just screenshots of memes and shit, but they mean a lot to me.
I mean,
I mean, Bonnie has pictures everywhere in this house.
Your house is filled. Like going to the bathroom. I'm like, I could learn about half of Rebecca's life just through all the pictures and paintings that are on the wall in here.
A lot of shit. Yeah.
I love it.
That's awesome.
And sometimes in that, like, this is something I've heard too on TikTok, which is like, it really changed my perspective, because when you're like, I don't want to be in a picture, don't take my picture. Somebody would like say, I have no pictures of me and my mom because she never wanted her picture taken. And now she died. And this is the only picture I have. And she hated it. But this is the only picture I have of her now. So people are like, take the picture. Nobody cared. Like, nobody's going to remember that you didn't like the way you looked that day. They're just going to remember this is a picture of me and my mom.
I have to correct myself.
What?
Because I said she, not they.
Oh, I didn't even track it. But thank you.
I just need to.
Thank you.
I just need to say that, because I think somewhere in there I said about your life, and anyway about Rebecca's life, their life.
Thank you.
Anyway, you're welcome.
I didn't even notice.
I could not have let that sit in my brain. That would have rotted me until the end. I could not. So
all good. All good.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But
so yeah, memories and stuff.
Memories and stuff are tough. Okay. Whew. So keep journals if you want to have journals. Take lots of pictures if you want them, or otherwise don't.
Yep.
Otherwise don't. Okay. can we have this conversation about
Yeah.
Picard over Wesley?
Yeah.
I have my own, like, I've been thinking about it. I'm gonna let you say.
Do you want to go first on that?
Let me say my thing first, because my thing
Say your
is
thing
less,
first. I'm totally here for it.
no, because my thing is less like sentimental
Well,
than
but
yours.
But I don't know that
So
mine is super sentimental. Also, I want to have a discussion on it because the key is that it's the at that moment what was on the mind kind of thing. And so there's this. Okay, let me keep it bulleted. Then we can have a conversation. Then I can get more wordsmithy after the fact. I'll try to keep this simple. So you have Beverly, who is mom and doctor and like employee of sorts. You know, there's these roles being played. And in that moment, those three things are like probably an equal weight in her mind. Because I try to think about myself as a mom, and like there are different points throughout the day where, like, if I were to go into a warp bubble, it'd probably be similar where my boss might take like priority in the back of my head at that time on a problem because I would have been less stressed about my child. Anyway, but I want to have this thought because in that moment, she had that conversation with Quace, and then she was thinking about like loved ones gone. And of course, she mentions that she thinks first about her late husband, and then she goes to see her son, goes to see Wesley because that like triggers it, and then it happens. And so what I think was then in that subconscious is like, if you're thinking about who would you regret losing, who would you regret, and I think because her and Picard have this unspoken, I think it lives heavier in the subconscious is what I kind of wanted to pull to the front is like your thoughts on like everyone else is kind of in this hierarchy order, but Picard's this unknown because they haven't had that discussion. They haven't had that, but there is this deep connection because it was her late husband's like really good friend, but also is this person that's this like, are we not at this time? We later learned they do, but that's a whole other story. But I don't have a thought, but other than just like really this observation that in both her reality that she created, she loses her son first and Picard's the last one, which like that partnership, whether it's from a like platonic friendship or relationship, Picard is the last one that stays in her thoughts. Picard is the last one. And in that moment, in that reality, there's this almost confession of love that then doesn't happen. And it's that like, what if? And then coming out of it, again, embraces Picard first and then goes to her son. So I don't really have a lot on it, but maybe just an observation that I don't think a lot of people might bring to the front because, and what does that say about like Wesley? Like, did she view Wesley as more independent and not needing that from her? I don't know. So say your thoughts.
I told you you should have gone. I should have gone first because.
Well, then go first.
No, you just did. You just explained yours because mine is not nearly as nice as that. Mine is like, I mean, it is and it isn't, but mine is and Harmony said mine in the comments too. I'm calling you out, Harmony, because I agree with you. She's known Picard longer than she's known Wesley. Way longer.
That's
because Wesley's only like what 17, 18 at this point. So
but I think I'm going to try and like be the middleman here and intertwine those together because yes, she has known them longer, so that might also technically be a reason why he outlasts everybody else. But to your point, Christina, like, and I know we've talked about this before, but I feel like parents can lose themselves in parenthood, and that's just I'm a mom, and like that's all. Like some people lose themselves to that, and they lose who they were before they became a parent, and that's all they're viewed as, whether it's how they view themselves, how other people view them. So to know that like she has all of these relationships and memories outside of just being a mom to Wesley. She's more complex than just a mom. She's all these other things too. It reminded me, I saw an interview with Kaylee Cuoco. She was in the Big Bang Theory. She was Penny. She had a baby, and when she came back from maternity leave, everyone on set, whatever show she was on, I don't know what it was at that time, but they were all calling her, "Hey mama, how you doing? Hey mama, hey mama." And she had to tell her sister, and she's like, "Tell people to stop calling me that." Like,
Oh,
and she was very nice about it, but, like, I wouldn't be. I'm like, "I have a name. My name is this. Just stop calling me mama." It's very depersonalizing. Um, and, like, it really bothered her that everybody was doing that. "Hey, mama, how you doing? Hey, mom." Like,
mm,
I can see
mhm.
how that would really bother people because
Oh, yeah.
it is depersonalizing, and I've heard experiences of women who had traumatic experiences, and then families show up, in birth, and then the families show up like, "Where's the baby? Baby, baby," and it's like, "What about me? What about
Sarah, do you
me?" Like,
not know my
no,
story?
yeah, but, like, that resonates with me and all of these other experiences because
Yeah.
whether even if you have the smoothest birth possible, it's still a very traumatic thing bodily for you, whether you
Oh,
have a C-section or whatever, like, the hormone drop, it's a huge change, like, and that's on the best of circumstances,
oh my
and
god. Yeah.
everyone just comes in, they're like, "Where's the baby? Baby, baby, baby," and it's like, I'm still here too. Don't forget about me."
The
Not to be
shock
selfish.
the shock and awe on, like, my family's face when, like, after Ryder was a few years old, where I was like, "So, yeah, like, I really don't have, like, a great time on Ryder's birthday because that's also the day I died." And they're like, "Oh."
Just completely over their head.
Oh. Yeah, and I'm like, "So, like, it's really hard
Yeah.
for me because if it had been any other day and it's like the anniversary of the big crash or the big this,
Mhm.
like people would be mindful of it. But you want me to take this and like marry it with this joyous thing, like that's
It's hard.
complicated."
Yeah.
But yeah, people do not, they don't always understand how to do it. I think though when presented with it, they go, "Oh, ooh, you're
Yeah.
right. You're right." But like, no, we are not just the parent. Like that's not all that we are. While like
Right.
it might
Yeah.
feel that way, we're still people.
So, like, Adam's sister is pregnant now. She's due in
Oh.
September, and this is the first person that I've known pregnant-wise that since kind of having this and learning this, like, to
Mhm.
remember her and not just be like, "Baby." And I even said to Adam, I was like, "Don't be, like, rubbing up on her stomach or anything unless you ask." Like, don't invade
Yeah.
people's space. But,
Thank you
like,
for that, Sarah.
um, but, like, yeah, just remember the person who had, like, it's exciting, a new baby, like, cool, but don't forget about the person who did all the work, you know? Like, it's
Mhm.
very traumatic and, like, the drop in hormones, and it's exhausting, and again, that's on the best of circumstances, if
Yeah.
Mhm.
so
Totally.
but just, again, like, I like that they ha made sure that she had an identity just outside of being a mom,
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean,
uh
technically, she technically, she just let Wesley go off on the Enterprise for a whole season while she was back at, uh,
That's fair.
Starfleet Medical running everything because Wesley was just with the rest of the crew in season 2 when Dr. Crusher was not there, so
Good for
yeah.
her, though.
Yeah.
Good for
She's
her. Love that
like,
for
"No,
her.
Imma go be like a badass in charge of everything,"
Well,
and
and I think that's like part of that growth too as a parent is like when you do have that separation, when you are like, "Nah, my kid's good," and like they're a little bit more independent. So there's not that codependency
Mhm.
between um
which can't be
parent.
said of her second child.
Uh-oh.
That's a yeah.
I mean, I love Picard, everybody. I actually and I really loved season 3. It gave all the fan service, but, yeah, there's some
Yeah.
things in it that are just like, okay."
That I mean, but at least we get confirmation that they actually did have a thing in a relationship because
They
otherwise,
did the
how do you
deed.
have a son
They
together?
did the deed, and then it
Did
got
it?
weird, and then they, like,
They
didn't see each other for
did.
20 years. Because that's what happens
Bye.
when things get weird.
Yes, you go.
Oh, but
But
I loved Blazing Bev's return when she's, like, literally guns blazing, and
she
Picard
looks
made me so happy.
she
Not gonna
looks
lie.
so good. Oh, she's amazing. But yeah, so I don't know. Thanks for that discussion on it. It's like I don't really have like an opinion, but I do think there's that subliminal. And Sarah, I appreciate your kind of intertwining between the two because Rebecca, your point, yeah, like she has known him longer. That's relevant to that space. But also, I think, oh, this is what I didn't say is because there's if you think of like Bev in her 3 categories, right? Like there's like personal, then there's like work, and then there's like doctor. Picard sits in all of those.
Mhm.
You know, where like Wesley is like here in work. Like Picard, I think covers and is in all these different parts of Beverly's life, of
Yeah.
Crusher's
I
life,
think
and
I
that
checked
was
all
my
the
argument to be
boxes.
made.
There's definitely something to be said too about the fact that like Picard was the one that was there when like
Yeah.
Jack died, you know?
Yeah.
So it's that
Yeah.
trauma bond between them a bit too, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good call out. So
Mhm.
yeah, so I think it was a yeah, I don't know, because I thought about that. Of course, the mom in me is like, would I lose Ryder before someone else? Like, no. Like, I would hope Ryder'd be the last, but maybe not. I don't know.
You don't know.
But don't know. Don't know.
Depends
It all
on
depends.
the frame of mind, the time of the season of life that you're in, so to speak.
This
Who
is
knows?
true. This is true. All right.
I
That's a
think
good
that's it.
episode.
That's what I got.
Yeah, that's all. I love it.
Next week, we're going to talk about, well, next week or whenever.
Are we episode 6?
Next week. No, season 4, episode 5, Divide and Conquer is next.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yes. For real. Divide and Conquer is next.
I don't know what you're talking about for real. This is what we're gonna do the whole time. I don't know what you're talking about.
Mhm.
How do we want to close it out? How do we do it in Star Trek? Signing off?
You're gonna beam out or
I can't do this, guys. I'm sorry. My hands just don't do the thing.
He had to.
I also ripped off my acrylic nails in a state of anxiety today because I have a giant presentation for work tomorrow. So that's the
it's
thing.
giant. You're gonna be great though. You're gonna be great.
This.
I
You
think
got
we somebody just needs to like point the ship in a direction and engage.
Well, I think
I'm gonna bow out of this
Ooh.
respectfully.
All right, I guess I'll do it.
do it.
I guess I'll do it. All right. Computer, lay in a course to Tau Alpha C. Engage.